Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we'll be talking about the Shade Swamp Sanctuary, otherwise known as the Farmington Zoo in Connecticut. This all started in 1929 when the state of Connecticut acquired 140 acres from Walter W. Holmes. This eventually would grow into 800 acres, all owned by the state. In 1934, the Department of Fish and Game for Connecticut opened the Shade Swamp Sanctuary, which was a conservation place for injured birds and other animals to be tended to. This resulted in small steel cages being built and small dens in the back of those cages to provide the animals with some shelter while they healed up from their injuries. In addition to injured animals, the zoo also tended to the breeding of wildlife such as raccoons and rabbits for hunting, as this was during the Great Depression and most people were out of jobs and they needed really anything they could to survive. So breeding these animals, they usually ended up getting hunted off the side of the road. With the word zoo being used in publication and around the area at that time, it gave owners of exotic pets an idea. They decided, because they didn't want their pets anymore for various reasons, that they could just dump them at the Shade Swamp Sanctuary, because it is a zoo after all, which didn't really turn out very well. This led to monkeys, alligators, bears, parrots, and even a baby giraffe from a circus being dropped off at the Shade Swamp Sanctuary with thoughts of possibly they would be rehomed. This didn't happen, as it was such a small facility. They simply couldn't do anything about these exotic animals during such a moment of strife in our country. The majority of the breeding experiments were ended in the late 1930s as the war in Europe got more ramped up. Industry on the US side started to increase greatly and ended the need for really to breed these animals, and they kind of really stopped caring about that as they redirected their interest over towards the war effort. This led to the site being officially abandoned by the state in the 60s, and it would have been just left to rot in the forest off the side of Route 6 if not for one thing. The one building that saved Shade Swamp Sanctuary was this one, which is a shelter that is built around the side of Route 6 in 1934 by the Civilian Conservation Corps. This building was deemed historically significant and was put on the Register of Historic Places. This turned the area around it into a park, and now there are trails running between the old cages in the Farmington Zoo. That's all I got for you today, just a nice little quick one. Next week, we may be stopping at a different sanatorium, the Seaside Sanatorium, in fact.